Hey, Monday movie fans.
Fan.
This week, fan singular. This this week we're back to the MCU TV division with Secret Invasion, which just finished its run last week. Who knows? I'm Frank Gaffney. With us, as always, is Joel, recovering from the Addams family. Amy
And
Goldfuck
today is
and
Joel's birthday.
Ginger. Yes, today is Joel's birthday. Happy birthday, Joel.
Happy
If
birthday,
you're
Happy
Joel.
watching this on Monday, August 14th, it's Joel's birthday. Goldhook and Cringer, she's drinking already. Look at that. Annie King, back home again after visiting Pittsburgh, God knows why. And Mark Wotis Gardner, who has the comic book up of Secret Invasion. They all look green. Who's the guy who's not green?
I'm colorblind. You're asking the wrong person. They all look green to me.
Mark would never know a Skrull if he came across one.
No.
Right.
I'm not to be trusted.
I think the ears would give it away.
Yes, that's true. Well, no, he might think they're Vulcans.
Vulcan, exactly. Out of your Vulcan mind.
So we learned from previous movies that Skrulls can shapeshift. They can be anyone at any time. And I'm out. And why don't they just throw in another multiverse 100 timelines and then, that just kill me all the way. That's all. All right. So here's the gist of this one. In 1995, Skrulls came to Earth looking for a new planet to live. And Nick Fury knew about it, and he assures his young Skrull friend Talos that they'll figure it out. But by present day, Nick Fury didn't do anything, and there are 1 million of them on Earth. And when Nick finds out, he says to Talos that there's not enough room for both species on Earth. That's nice. Meanwhile, turns out Gravik, another character, is a rebel Skrull who believes the best way to help his species now, after all this time, is just to forcibly infiltrate Earth for the resources they need. Nick Fury is again played by Samuel L. Jackson, and Talos is Ben something or other.
Mendelsohn.
Wasn't Mendelsohn a composer?
Hmm.
All right. So then the first thing that happens, Gravik disguises himself as Nick Fury and kills Maria Hill, which we get a cameo from in that first episode from that girl from How I Met Your Mother. Okay, and then Colby Smulders. The real Nick is pissed. And Maria's mother says our favorite cliche, don't let her death be for nothing.
Oh, God, right.
Right after she mentioned platitudes, right? Yeah.
But is she dead? Gamora came back and all the people who got blipped came back.
Nope.
Or could, she could be laying there and not quite dead yet.
I'll address that. In the comic books, yes, they would find a way to make her alive again. But no, she died for realsies. And Gamora never came back. Again, this is a past Gamora. We've explained this.
It's a different Gamora.
All right, the character came back, whether it was
sure.
a new one or old one. And maybe that thing was just a dead Skrull. Okay. And we get a cameo from Martin Freeman.
Dead Sea Skrulls.
Another Dead Sea Skrull.
That's great.
That's not a spoiler alert because it was so obvious that he was a Skrull. Come on. Then we see that most of the world's leaders of their different countries are all Skrulls. Okay, but are there two? Because are the real leaders gone? Because there were two Nick Furies when he killed Maria. He was Nick, and Nick was there. So are the real leaders still there?
The ones that they're impersonating, they have in the dungeon, and because they were able to read their minds so that they can take over for them. He just went into Nick Fury for 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, and then one of the world leaders asked, "And what happens if the Avengers return?" I just laughed.
They're
Not
busy.
in this show. And Olivia Colman obviously making the rounds because I just saw her on The Bear. She was on one
Yes.
episode of The Bear. Very lovely performance. And here she is in the MCU, and she's just great.
Yeah.
And I love that she cut off his whatever finger to see if he was a Skrull. That was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's MI6, where James Bond works. But I guess James Bond is off with the Avengers, so he wasn't available.
No, he's
Exactly.
dead.
James Bond is dead.
Yes.
True.
Oh, okay, in this timeline.
Well, assuming the Daniel Craig Bond is part of the MCU, yes.
Then he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead.
No, he's part of Star Wars.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's a galaxy far away a long time ago. So
Exactly. And da-da! Nick Fury is married to a Skrull. Did we know that?
No.
No. So this was new information. Okay. And then Talos says to Gravik, my daughter's name stays out of your mouth. Shouldn't he have slapped him? Shouldn't he have slapped him? I think he should have slapped him. And of course, the commander's a Skrull too. I mean, who isn't? And then Gravik kills Talos. And Olivia Cole finds that her supervisor is also a Skrull. It's Skrull City. And then the other rebels turn on Gravik for not killing Fury. But, Gravik now has the super strength because he went in the super strength machine. And of course, I was sitting there the whole time going, okay, I mean, everybody's a Skrull. Rhodey's going to be a Skrull too. And sure enough. And two Don Cheadles. We had Don Cheadle last week.
Yeah.
But I can assure you he's not in next week's movie. So we're safe from Cheadle for next week. And okay, and then the harvest is in Finland. Anyone care to explain that? Just Skrulls like the cold. Isn't it, basically? Nothing?
Wasn't it because he went on his honeymoon there, so that's where he put it or something?
I see. Yeah, okay.
I was just,
And at the
hear
end-
Finland, I just think Monty Python song. So
Finland. And so then at the end of episode 5, Nick Fury says, it's time. Let's finish this. And I screamed, oh, please, Lord, please. Let's finish this. Okay. And the Super Skrull machine, I don't know. It was not a good plot device for me. And so is this the end of Nick Fury again?
well,
Tune
no,
in tomorrow.
you've seen the trailers for the Marvels. He's in that.
Okay, so there you go.
Yeah.
So maybe Maria Hill will be back. Okay, and then in the big showdown, Gaia, she T2s her arm into a sword, right? Of course, because why not borrow from that? But throwing the card looked a little wonky. It was not a good special effect. Okay, so Mark, you have the comic book there. Is this all straight from? Was this a whole series in the comic books?
Oh, you're gonna have to ask Joel about this. I never read it, but yes, it definitely was in, I think, the early to mid 2000s. This was a definite
Yes.
series.
Yes, it was. There was a comic book series called Secret Invasion that was a bazillion times better than this TV show.
That's what I've heard.
So
Because
what went wrong?
what went wrong?
It's too slow.
It's I don't know how to explain what went wrong because you've already brought up the fact that we're the Avengers. Well, the comic book series, they don't have that issue. They don't have to pay, bigger actors more money for, a cameo appearance in a TV series. So the Avengers are all over. I mean, it's the what's behind Mark. The whole Marvel universe is involved, and it turns out that the Skrulls have infiltrated the Marvel universe over the years, and they've replaced Captain America and Spider-Man, and so it's a big thing. Here they had to scale it down, and I get that. They're not going to be able to bring in the Avengers for something like this. They can't use Spider-Man for something like this.
So why opt to make this a TV show and not make it the Phase 5? What are we waiting for?
I think they were looking for material to use for Nick Fury to give him his own series, and for whatever reason, that's what they landed on. And I think it's unfortunate because it's a great story that could have been like Phase 6, or phase 7 of the MCU, where it's not just a TV series. It's, you know, the Skrulls are popping up in movies and such, and you would lead to something like that. And I think they kind of
Right.
wasted it here entirely. It's just, you know, it was just there.
Okay, and then the president says, and we will kill every last one of you. So I'm guessing we haven't seen the last of the Skrulls. And again, I say, oh, good Lord. All right, I'm giving it a very generous 2 stars.
Wow.
And it's
Wow.
sad. It's really sad that Nick Fury had to wait 15 years for this piece of crap. I'm sorry. He deserved better. So Joel, did you watch it twice?
No.
Isn't this the worst one?
I'm having a hard time deciding. You know, this definitely lands in the Thor: The Dark World, Incredible Hulk.
No, I meant of the TV adaptation.
Oh, it's definitely the least of them. And it's unfortunate because I think there are some great performances in it. I think there are some great concepts in it, but I think at the end of the day, it's a whole lot of meh. You know, it just doesn't. You know, killing off Maria Hill, I felt like, all right, we needed to kill somebody major off, and we can't kill anybody else off because they're being used in other ways. So we haven't really done anything with her. So let's just get rid of her, you know. And that's not to say that she couldn't potentially come back at some point in the future, because we all know if they wanted to or needed to, they will, but I don't see it happening. You know, they weren't going to kill off Martin Freeman because they're still using him in I think Thunderbolts or something, and they can't kill off you know, Nick Fury, obviously, and they can't who was the other one? There was somebody else. Oh, Rhodey. They can't kill off Rhodey because he's Rhodey, but you know, they got rid of Talos, which I was like, we just kind of met this guy in Captain Marvel, you know, and he's interesting. So we're going to kill him off to create some drama that we're not really getting, because we're not really connecting with his daughter yet, because we're just kind of meeting her. It's just
What's her name? Amelia Clark.
Amelia Clark. I love, you know, Olivia Colman could read the phone book at this point, and it would be, you know, an amazing performance. I loved her at the show.
I definitely want to ask Amy about that, because I feel like, you know, most of her comedy was, you know, saying nasty lines in a comic way.
Right.
Did that get a little boring for you after a while?
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who knows Amy Beth Goldfuck better than this man? To my right here.
On my screen, I'm to your right.
That was the number one thing. Only real note I was going to say. I hate a character who does nothing but say every bitchy line with a smile. Oh my God, every fucking line was the same way. Now I'm going to cut off your thumb. Hated it. Hated. Thank you. But I do love Olivia Colman.
I thought so. Joel?
I don't know what else to say at this point. You know, I don't even know where to go with this star-wise. I'm like, you know, what did I give?
All right, you're never going to watch it again. That's the first beginning thing.
Most likely, I will never watch it again.
Yes. So, I mean, that gets it down a whole star for me right there.
Yeah, I'm hovering at like 2.25. I don't think I've ever gone lower than that on anything. So
no, you haven't.
So yeah, let's just stick with that. It was a waste of a lot of things at the end of the day, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, and the biggest sin of all, the waste of a good story.
Yes, yeah, very much so. And you know, I think, you know, all the complaints we've been hearing about everything in phase 4 and into phase 5 so far, I haven't had most of those problems. This epitomizes all of it in one shot. So one long 6 hour, well, not even 6 hours, because the episode That final
was like-
episode ran what, 30 minutes? It's like, oh yeah, we're gonna wrap all this shit up in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think it was only like 4 hours and 40 minutes or something like
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
that.
Anyway,
Aim,
I'm done.
is that your only note that I knew you were going to have?
Pretty much. Also, Miss Marvel is the one in Pakistan, right?
Yes, she's
I'm
the
just checking my stars. I went with 2 3/4 on that one, so fuck. I'm gonna fuck. I'm gonna have to go with the same 2 3/4 because I really was so over Ms. Marvel after a while. And I felt a little more frustrated with that one than this one. And I even said to Meryl this morning, we happened to be talking about it. And I said, I think I'm gonna probably like it more than anybody else, even though I didn't really like it. I don't think I hated it as much as I was getting the sense that you all were. So I'll give it 2 3/4. And I really don't have that much more to say. To me, it was all just, it's not fun if you're like, oh, is that person a scroll? And everyone is a scroll. You make 5 people out of 100 a scroll, and you're like, oh, wow, then it's cool. Now it's like, well, of course he's going to be. And the sad thing is, I remember loving the scrolls when I first met them. I thought they were so cute and so much fun.
that,
Yeah, but I
Really?
will say this is much more truer to their character.
Yeah.
When did we first meet them?
Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel.
I think that the comic book story handled it better because I mean it was an 8-issue miniseries that was self-contained, and at the same time there were 1-shots and 2-shots that were going through all the other comic books during the run. So, you know, it was like, who is a Skrull? You didn't find out until, you know, later in the story for most of them that it was, you know, holy shit, Spider-Man was replaced by a Skrull, and how do the ramifications of this, you know, work? This was just like, okay, you know, yeah, Rhodey's been replaced by a Skrull. When was he replaced by a Skrull? Is the big question, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And then it's
And
kind of like doesn't make sense based on where the director claims he was, because according to the director, he was replaced before Endgame.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree with Amy. None of it was really surprising.
Yeah, it was like we were Nick Fury trying to figure out that everybody is a scroll.
Now, Andy, you came into this whole thing because you're a big fan of the MCU.
Yeah, I love the movies. I watched all of them.
And now do you want to smack them?
Yeah, I definitely felt like the first phase 1 through 4 was, you know, kept my interest a lot. Recently, not so much. It's a little bit confusing and stuff. I mean, I'm actually looking forward to the Marvels, the movie.
Yes.
So we'll see how that one goes. But
I'm sorry to interrupt, but that also reminded me of something else we discussed with Meryl. You're saying this so much and stuff. And I have to totally agree with whoever said recently, and it might have been Bob Iger, there's just too much. There's too many TV shows and movies that are MCU now. It's just too much. It's overkill.
Yes, but I'm glad that the movies are kind of calming down over the next year. I think there's only like 2 in the next 12 months or something like that.
They had before, as phase 4 was kind of falling apart, you know, coming out, they were restructuring their schedule a little bit. So they were going from like 4 movies a year to now 3 movies a year. And I think with the strike and a few other issues that may drop, even a little more.
Yeah.
With, you know, the Marvels was pushed back into November, which I think was good. Although it's interesting that I feel like we've all turned into Barry Hattrick on this one, and
Not me.
not you.
Me.
The director of the Marvels was quoted as saying something to the effect of that they finally done a different type of film. This one's just wacky and silly, and I'm like, yeah, no, that's not what we want to hear, but hopefully it works. So.
Marvel's is wacky and silly?
Yeah, that's what the director said. They've gone in a wacky and silly.
We just saw Love and Thunder, and that was wacky and silly in a bad way.
Yeah. So hopefully this is a wacky, silly, better way, but we'll find out.
So, Anne, was this the Secret Invasion keep your attention for 4 hours and 45 minutes?
Not really. I just wanted it to end pretty much. I was like, just get to the end already. But my thought was like, you know, when they say everybody in the world has a a doppelganger. Like that must be me as a scroll somewhere, right?
Yeah.
But I don't understand, like, do they have to be dead? You can't keep everybody in a dungeon, right?
Yeah.
When there's a million scrolls.
Yeah.
But it was just
Yeah,
you know,
because yeah,
like,
wait a minute. If a million scrolls are on Earth passing themselves off as humans, then where are those million people? That's an interesting.
But think about it this way. There are currently over, are we almost at 8 billion people on
Yeah,
the
a
planet?
million is nothing.
A million, yeah, that's
right,
Which
but
I
did
wanted
they-
to say earlier when Frank said, you know, Nick Fury, whoever it was, not Nick Fury, said there's not enough room on this planet. I'm like, million? Yeah, there's enough room on this planet.
you can hide a million people in 8 billion pretty easily.
Yeah.
Well, no, but the scrolls only the millions only a percentage of them, I assume.
No, that was all
Oh.
of them that's left.
That's all
That's
that's left.
all of
They're all on Earth, yeah.
Oh,
And not for nothing, but they could all hang out. And all they said in the first episode, there's like 8 abandoned nuclear facilities in Russia that nobody knows about and nobody goes to. Right there, that's enough to hold about 1 million people probably, so they could just live their life happily, and
You
grow
got
their
2
fruit
million
and all that
people
stuff.
in Queens alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like Nick Fury promised them a home. Well, this is now your home. You could easily consume is the wrong word, but take in 1 million refugee scrolls and not have an issue. So
Well, this is obviously an anti-immigration move.
Right.
right. I didn't feel like Nick Fury was so great in this. It just didn't seem like him really. So I was like, ugh, that's
Well, I
like
think that was a big part of it, that he was too old already for this shit.
Yes.
right. Yeah. So
And there were no snakes on the motherfucking plane.
no,
Then he would have woken up.
that's what they should have called it. Scrolls on a plane.
Yes.
I also felt like what happened, the relationship between Talos and Nick Fury and stuff, like I get that he's so loyal to him or whatever, but you don't know what happened in all those years in between.
And that's I
Right.
think that's another fault of the series is that they don't explore. We saw the Skrulls arrive in Captain Marvel in the 90s. How we get glimpses here and there, but it's not enough to really make us care about what happened to these characters.
Yeah, and why Nick Fury did nothing for 15 years.
Yeah. So there are a lot of nits, but I would go with 2.75.
All right, Mark.
It comes
You
3
weren't
stars.
as tortured as the rest of us.
I'm glad you saved me for last. Yeah. No, I thought it was better than the reviews, and it was still better than Loki for me. Loki is my least favorite TV series, and it remains there. But this is certainly not my favorite TV series either. I thought it was a little bit too heavy-handed with the whole old man Fury thing. I mean, every episode he's not the same person he used to be. They said it over and over again.
How he's panting and he has
Yes.
to sit and rest.
It's like you're watching all 4 Lethal Weapon movies in a row, and Murtaugh's just I'm getting too old for this
Over this shit,
By the
over and
ti-
over.
By the time you're in the 4th film, you're like, we're all too old
Too old for this shit.
Yeah.
But I did think that was offset by Olivia Colman. Amy, I see where you're going with that, but I guess for me, it still worked. I thought she was hilarious. I guess my only critique is that I haven't seen her in too many things, but I feel like she has the same brand of comedy in everything she does. So she's kind of like a one-trick pony. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know enough about her. But having said that, she made me laugh in this, and I appreciated it. What else did I have? I was glad to see Shooter McGavin back making some rounds.
What's the actor's actual name, Mark?
Christopher McDonald.
Okay, just making sure you know that.
He was the Fox News host. He was the Tucker Carlson type of guy, and he was Shooter McGavin in Happy Gilmore with our friend Adam Sandler.
Oh, how funny.
And I haven't seen him in like 20 years or anything. So I did enjoy seeing some of Fury's personal life, and I was glad that they made Vara, his wife, stay loyal to him at the end, and I wasn't sure how that was going to go. This is a tasty bourbon. Did anybody catch that? That was a fantastic nod to Pulp Fiction.
Mm-mm.
Ah,
He says that this is a tasty burger, when they were about to kill all the kids.
Ah,
That's great.
It was definitely, it was, he said it in the same exact inflection. So it was exactly that. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. I'm going with 3 stars. I don't think that's too generous. I did enjoy it, and I actually am watching it a second time. I'm halfway through the second time, watching it with Danielle this time, and it is better the second time around, if that helps.
I definitely wanted to. The week got away from me.
It's I get it, and part of me was like, do I want to? I don't know. I'm glad I'm doing it a second time. I'm catching things that I missed the first time, and I think it's because everyone's saying like it was a little boring, a little slow. I caught myself kind of looking at my phone and this and that. So now I'm rewatching it and catching things. It's to me, Hawkeye is still the best show that they had, and this did not capture that same oomph. So
I think part of
So
my
can
go ahead, Annie.
one of you put all the TV shows and the ratings up also this week?
ooh,
ah,
that'd be fun.
To see that.
yeah.
Part of our problem, and I can't speak for Natasha because I know she might have enjoyed it more than I did, is that we were watching it concurrently week to week with Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is just, an infinitely better show in so many ways that it's kind of like, okay, let's just watch Secret Invasion to get it over with, and let's move on to the show we really want to watch. So
I get that.
Yeah, I
Is
heard I
Secret
need to watch
Invasion
that.
Animated?
what?
Is the Star Wars thing animated?
Star
Brave
Trek?
New
Yeah.
Worlds, what's it called?
No.
Why
Brave
would you
New
think that?
Worlds? What is it?
Strange New Worlds.
There's too many of those too.
No, there isn't.
I just finished watching Picard.
So you should now
Gotta
start
watch
Strange
that.
New World. It's a great series. It is the best Star Trek series currently on air.
It's the only Star Trek.
I thought at least you were going
No,
to say
just
since the
that-
next generation.
It's just well, yeah, no, not. I like it better than the Next Generation at this point. So,
Well, there you go.
but that's me.
Yeah. you
Hey,
just
where
like-
else? Where else
It's
can you
new and
get?
shiny.
Where else can you get an episode that crosses
Musical
over with an animated
crossover.
series, and then 2 weeks later, then it shoves in a really major serious episode, and then the week after gives you a musical episode?
Buffy the
Sure.
Vampire Slayer.
Nope, never crossed over with their animated series.
She was in Scooby Doo. Come on.
All I'll say is I do agree, whether it's Star Wars, Star Trek, or Marvel, it's getting to be too much content. There's just oversaturation.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn.
Yes.
All right, so that's it for Secret Invasion until Mark finishes watching it again. And you can watch it too. It's on Disney Plus.
Until they pull it for tax purposes.
Exactly. Next week, Joel is taking us back to the silent era with Buster Keaton's Steamboat Bill Jr., which is available on Prime, but it's really everywhere. You can watch it on YouTube. I know Joel hates that, but
Well,
nobody's getting royalties from silent films anyway.
that's bullshit.
I refuse to believe that.
There are the musical scores on silent
Right.
films that were composed recently are copyrighted. So if there's a
Yeah,
version on
but you
YouTube,
shouldn't be watching it with recent composed stuff.
well, it depends on what it is. The older stuff sometimes was cobbled together by the piano player at the theater, not
Yeah.
actually. So it's essentially the same thing, but someone like Ben Modell could be like, okay, I've created this new score for Steamboat Bill Jr., and that is copyrighted to him. It can't be thrown up on YouTube.
Is that the one we're watching on Prime?
I have no idea what version's on Prime.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to check it out.
Watching some version there somewhere.
Okay.
Okay, that's it for us. I'm Frank Gaffney. Go watch a movie.
Also with you.